Okay, I'm adding. Hey, good.
Fingers crossed that the Wi-Fi stays the whole time.
No, I see you very nicely. You like the quality is
You're
good.
you're frozen to me, so I'm just like I'm gonna ignore that. It's okay.
Oh my
Um,
God. I hope I will. I'm not a work of art anymore. Kind of work of art now. But anyway, thank you very much for like agreeing doing this live stream interview kind of art talk, everything together. I really appreciate that you're here with me now.
of course, I'm so excited.
Yes, me too. So we will yes, we're going to save the video so it will be okay, like people will be able to watch afterwards even if they miss as live streaming. So
Amazing.
can you please introduce yourself? You have some fancy names that it's hard for me to pronounce everything, right?
Yeah. So my name is Eirdís. My full name, Eirdís Heiður Chen Ragnarsdóttir. I'm an Icelandic Chinese artist, and my studio is currently based in China. I'm quite international, so I've also lived quite a few years in New York, and the past 9 months I was in Japan, which is actually where I made all of the work that's behind me. I'm going to show you guys later, and I'm basically quarantining right now. So this is a very interesting time to do this interview because I'm stuck in a hotel room in China, and I did the best that I could with the space that I have to show you guys some of the work that I've made. But if you want to see more of my typical work, I would check out my Instagram, which is just my name. I think you can see it on the top, so Eirdís.
Yes.
I actually love using oils. So none of the work that you'll see behind me actually is oils because it's the most portable, and I took it out of my suitcase. So, you know, yeah. So, yeah, that's pretty much kind of the quickest intro that I was able to pull out.
Yes, but we are going to go into the all details right now. So, but yes, I was actually I was about to ask about your technique. I saw a lot of your artworks in oil. Like, and now why have you decided to use watercolors in Japan?
Yeah, so I hope that the people watching don't see what I'm seeing, because I just want to know, because it's definitely, it keeps stopping. So just listen to what we're saying if you are also seeing it in like a bad connection way. But the reason why I started making these different kind of mixed media drawings, well, I've always been doing it, but I usually do it when I'm traveling, or it's a more portable medium. And because when I was in Japan, I didn't know how long I would be staying in Japan, and I wasn't sure if I should be making oil paintings, considering that it takes time to dry. So, of course, I ended up being in Japan for 9 months, which would have been perfect time for me to make a lot of oil paintings. But this year has been a lot of uncertainty. So I really think the medium that I've used in Japan represents 2020 uncertainty. And the work also looks like uncertainty, you know. So that's the primary reason. I ended up making oil paintings anyway towards the end, because I was like, you know what? Like, I love oils, and yeah.
Enough of this 2020 craziness.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. It's interesting. Actually it's interesting symbol, like, because like watercolor is so, you know, it's so spreading on the paper, and is this uncertainty, and this year kind of, you know, blurry, and like, you know, yes, it's very interesting comparison actually.
Yeah, I think watercolor in general, it represents COVID in a sense, because it's more unpredictable. It's harder to control. So I think the medium kind of speaks to the situation of 2020. Like, if I want to, you know, bring the symbolism into the medium that I use as well.
Oh, wow, wow, it's so interesting. Oh, well, maybe so you should show something to us, some of your
Yes.
of
Um,
that
let me do that.
exhibition you created on your bed. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
So I obviously didn't want to put my artwork on the floor, but I don't have much space in this hotel room that I'm quarantining at. So this is the best that I could do. And I'll just like show you guys a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I've laid a lot of my work on top of each other. And this is all work that I made in Japan during COVID, inspired by, I guess, the situation of this year. This is only a portion of everything I've made. I've made a lot of work.
And you know, your artworks are very detailed, and it's like you have to go deeper, like into every work, like to look actually and to dive in, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. Well,
can you pick up a few artworks maybe, like to present?
Let me think. So that's why I'm saying like people should check out my actual Instagram, because I normally work large. I love doing large paintings. So I know I've done a lot of these smaller ones, but they don't necessarily represent what I usually do. But I would be happy. Okay.
But you know,
man,
it's like a chapter of your creative life. You know, it's okay. It's like it's different.
Yeah, let's do this one. Maybe this is a watercolor piece.
Okay. Oh, I watched your video at your YouTube channel. How you were drawing this one?
Yes. Wow. So this is a watercolor, and you can see it's, you know, well, I'm very new to watercolor, to be honest. I'll pick up another couple. There we go.
Oh, wow. What do we have here? Like, it's the sun and the different forms kind of mixing together. Oh my God.
Yes.
It takes time to decipher, like, you know, it's so surrealistic.
It's very dramatic. So I love to work a little bit about how I work when I create. I like to work from the subconscious. I'm really into working, into not using my mind to guide my creations, and then afterwards looking at it as a representation of something more, something that I maybe couldn't have comprehended if I planned it. So there's a lot of subconscious in my work, and I think I make a lot of work that remind me of dreams, but I never remember my own dreams. So I'm like, why am I always working with dreams? I don't get it. But yeah, so I mean, and I keep naming and titling my work dreams because that's the only thing that makes sense to me. Like this is a piece that I made. I did a YouTube video for this one as well, and all of the challenge, because I like to challenge myself sometimes. So let's turn, this can be turned, a lot of my work can be turned in all directions, because I don't really believe, it represents kind of like how perspective is like changeable, you know. So this one specifically actually is, I did an art challenge on my YouTube channel, and the challenge was to come up with 5 random words, like the first words that pop into my mind that start with the letter A. And so then make a painting out of it. So I have avocado. I don't know if you can see that one.
Yes, I did, actually.
Yeah, so avocado, animal. So I just have like a bunch of animals. I didn't want it to be too obvious, so it can look like a frog, a cheetah, or whatever you want it to look like. Alligator was the third word. Apricot, I think that's the apricot. Wait, no, that's the apricot. The I is the apricot. And anxiety. So, anxiety. This whole thing is anxiety. Yeah.
I also see donuts.
You see donuts?
Yes. Apricot looks like donut.
There's so many oh, this is a fun one actually. There's always a lot of things that you can see from, and I think it coincides with my philosophy of life is that it just depends on the narrative that you have. So depending on the day, depending, you know, like I don't believe in, you know, I think my work challenges the idea of existing inside boundaries or of boundaries in general. So existing within a box. So break free of boundaries and like free yourself. So my art, I feel like is very like it represents the freeing idea that I really believe in. I love this one actually. I want to make this into a big oil painting.
Wow, it's so detailed.
It's crazy.
Oh my God. Yes, it is crazy. Wow, it's some faces. Oh my God. Yeah, it's kind of really. How do you call it?
I don't remember. Like I wrote it down somewhere, but I think I'm still processing it. I don't know what is going on.
Okay, well, maybe you will come up with some. Wow, I like that you combined some like just contours, like a black contour, and also
yeah,
this color,
yeah.
like it's different, totally different, like drawing with painting, the combination.
So
kind of.
I've been playing around with that a lot actually, where I use different techniques. So I mix around messy with organized, which reminds me. I mean, I could go all day just like showing you artwork. I have so much work. But might as well just show this as well because I think people like to see art. But since quarantine, I started making these drawings just to kind of give an idea of like how I work with different types of, So these are totally different, and these are much more refined. I've just been working with a lot smaller mediums now, and these are very detailed.
Oh my God.
Right. Fuji! I made this in Yamanakako.
Oh my.
Yeah, these are...
It's very intense. This one.
It's
like baby face, red baby face. Oh,
it's pretty crazy. I love this one. Well, I'm obviously I've been very inspired by Japan since I've been here all year, basically. Oh, I'm not finished with that page. And this is since quarantine, like in Shenzhen. So since the last week, it starts from here. I've also been writing some like journaling on the side. It's obviously been very difficult, you can tell.
It's like a lot of motion. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow. I like this one. It's like so I don't know, it's kind of like some stories, don't you think so? Like fairy tales.
Yeah. Like a narrative. I don't know what the narrative is.
Some fairy tale to each of the picture, like. Wow.
This one's pretty inappropriate. I love this one. I did this yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm a little compulsive, so I made this all basically in a week.
Oh my God. Workaholic.
I did this today. Crazy.
It's really like, oh wow. Is it like eyes and mouth? I don't know, in the center.
So I'm sure that you can see a little bit of everything in here. I don't know. Yeah. I'm not the best person to talk about my art. It just depends on the day what it means to you. And I think it means something else to different people. So I don't, and that's coincides with the idea that we shouldn't like label things. I think like just keeping it open for people to see whatever they want is cool.
Okay, but you know, it's really I like when artworks stimulate my creativity, and I just want to make up some story to it.
Oh, well, maybe you could write stories for my artwork.
Oh my God, I will try maybe. But yeah, it's so much like something like Alice in Wonderland, you know?
Yeah.
Like you know what is going on.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly might hit you up for some ideas for titles sometime because I have so much artwork and I'm getting, I don't know, I just need ideas for titles sometimes. I don't know.
Yes. Oh, I maybe I will try to make up something for maybe in the future. So, but you know, you have so detailed artworks. Where you get inspiration from?
Where do I get inspiration from? Okay, so I want to apologize for anyone that's still watching again if they're seeing what I'm seeing because you keep pausing and I just hope they can focus on the audio.
I see you perfectly. So
okay, that's great. It's really weird. I don't understand how technology works. I'm like, how? Okay, but it's fine. My inspiration. So, okay, let's start with I'm a compulsive creative person. I cannot stop creating. It's actually, I mean, thankfully, it is. It comes to my advantage because it's now my full-time job. But I literally cannot stop. So that's just a temperament. So I'm a creative machine, you know? I don't really sit down and I consciously think, let me get inspired. I literally cannot stop. But I can say that I think for me, it's quite psychological. So if I want to really narrow it down, it would be the fact that I feel like creating, so we're not talking about specific artworks, but creating itself does something for me. It's therapeutic, you know, and it calms me down. So that's probably why, and that's the reason for most of my artwork. Otherwise, I just wouldn't be creating, right? And I create so much work. So I think it's psychological and it's therapeutic because I don't know how to maybe confront my inner demons in a different way than through creation. So I think it's a way to get to know myself better and, you know, consequently get to know the human condition better. A lot of things you cannot explain. And so, yeah.
So you may say that like part of your creativity comes from like dark place of your soul.
I think also sometimes happy places. It used to be when I first kind of started painting oil paintings, like when I was a teenager, it was definitely coming from a very dark place. And I think I've always kind of struggled with dealing with my emotions. So it would be something that I would just put it all into my paintings and look at it afterwards and be like, wow, like that expresses everything. It was almost like avoiding the work. So sometimes it's really difficult to figure out the line where I'm using art to escape or to cope with my problems. Because you're kind of doing both at the same time. Like you're not dealing with things and you're also, yeah, I forgot what you asked. What were you saying?
About inspiration. But you know, it's interesting that you are saying that like even if you pour everything on the canvas, on the paper, it doesn't mean that you solved the problem, right?
Yeah. You know, I think of it as like oh my gosh, like it's so hard to explain. It's kind of like crying for me. Making art, it's kind of like crying. And I don't like to cry. I don't know when I should cry in like a normal situation. And I think my timing is very off in real life. So I think with my artwork, I channel all of my emotions creatively, and the way I end up experiencing my emotions are really random. I might cry on a random day and not even know why because I channeled it into my artwork. So for me, it's like I think it's a translation of emotion, but in a really interesting. It's overall productive. I recommend it. So if you do it enough, you become an artist. If you do it enough, you become a professional. Like, but it started off by escaping. So.
Oh, it's interesting because you know you're really thinking deep about your inspiration and all this. You're obviously reflecting a lot, I think, about everything.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I sometimes force myself to not create for a little while, just so that I can actually confront my emotions as a human being.
Okay, and you know, you have a lot of symbols like in your artworks. Do you leave like a room for interpretation of them, or do you have some like inspiration, like you know, maybe some you know,
like you're talking about symbols, right?
Yes, about symbols. Is it something more traditional symbols, like maybe took from classics literature, or do you leave the room for interpretation, kind of?
Right. That's a really good question. And I want to, so I don't consciously do it. 95% of the time, I don't consciously do it. I don't consciously use symbols and put it into my artwork. However, as human beings, we cannot escape the fact that everything that we've ever been exposed to since we were born influences everything that we ever create. You cannot create out of nothing. So, but the thing is, we don't understand that we already know so much without consciously being aware that we know so much. So I think a lot of my artwork is inspired probably from childhood without me realizing. I'm oftentimes painting mythology probably from Iceland, you know, or my understanding of it, but it's not something I ever think about. I haven't been in Iceland, you know, lived in Iceland for 10 years, but I think it's very deep. Something that, you know, stories that you read as a child, or Cartoon Network. That's something I've been realizing, because everyone keeps telling me, oh my gosh, like this drawing reminds me of Cartoon Network. Like they'll give me some cartoon names, and I'll be like, wow, I never thought of that. Like, I didn't really do that on purpose, but that makes sense because I watched Cartoon Network as a kid, you know, and Cartoon Network is crazy. Like, let's be real. They're totally, it's crazy. So I think I don't consciously do it. And usually someone will point something out to me, and then I'll realize. So for instance, I do a lot of eyes in my work. Yeah. And that's very interesting to me, because I really didn't realize that I did that until someone pointed it out to me, and I was like, whoa, like, yeah, you're right. I always paint eyes. And it might have something to do with the fact that I'm always trying to see beyond, you know, so there's always more than two eyes, because I think that everything is conscious. I think everything, you know, we live in breathing consciousness. If that even makes sense. I mean, whatever. Nothing has to make sense, but yeah. No, so I consciously use symbols sometimes. Yeah, you know, sometimes I do. I love symbolism. So I read about symbols, but I don't consciously use them in my art. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, I understood. Like, let's like paint the rose, or kind of like this.
I just figured out the analogy. So think about learning language, right? You're like reading things. You have to learn a language, and it takes effort. But then once you learn the language, you're not actually, it's like very unconscious. It's like in the subconscious. So it's like I'm reading books and I'm reading about people that I enjoy. Like, I love psychoanalysis, but I'm not consciously taking out symbols from it and making it. But it's like in my language already, you know? So I think if you just make enough artwork, it becomes a language that you really understand, and you will keep building upon it.
It's interesting, because when I was writing the text for our art fair, I was also used to this metaphor that art is like language. And
Totally.
yes, if you will take a time, if you allow yourself dive into artworks, like make some connection and read actually the artworks, it will become the language that you will understand. Oh, it's I actually it's interesting, and it becomes a very nice dialogue between artist and the viewer, right?
Definitely.
Kind of wow, it's
yeah.
interesting. And you know, also I saw your artworks at your website, like for your first like some of your projects, and then I saw something on Instagram, and I was so like impressed by yes, you like to use these bright colors, but also the style is different. You can track the evolution of your style, and I was interested. Was there any moment when you realized that I want something new, or I have to do this,
Ooh.
or maybe here is the start of my new chapter in my creative life, or something like this?
Right. These are really good questions, by the way, Oksana. Again, with me, it's always going to be subconscious. No, I mean, it's a mix. So I'm very diligent about always making work. You know, so I'm very compulsive, so I make it anyway, but I believe it's a muscle you have to constantly train. So I make work basically every day, almost, unless I decide to not make work for a week. And my rule is for myself that even if I'm having a bad day, make art. And to never judge myself. And I say this to other creatives because I'm like, like people go into these artist blocks. And it's because they have an idea before they create and they're already being judgmental of themselves. And I never do that. I'm not judgmental of my creations. I'm very kind about it. I think everything I ever make is very interesting. You know, and it might be bad according to someone else, but I don't have that narrative inside myself. So I just know, I know people change. I know I will change, and I embrace it and I don't judge it. So as my skills get better, and there's so many skills involved in making art. So there, on one hand, it's technique. On the other hand is the understanding of color. And then there's the understanding of shape and composition and concept and all this stuff. And as you learn more about a certain topic, that also enhances the art piece. So obviously, I will continue changing. Just like every single human being that is growth-oriented or whatever, it's going to continue changing. My art will change because my art is a direct mirror of who I am. So, yes, my work has changed for sure. And I'm such a chameleon. It just kind of depends on the chapter, the day. I switch things up almost like daily. And sometimes I'll just like make the same stuff for 5 days and then just get bored of it, do something completely different. And so that's also why I like to keep medium. I don't believe in controlling things, especially when it comes to creativity. I do think you should, if you ponder upon something amazing, you should push it. You know, you should really milk it, you know, like get everything out of that idea. And that's actually something I've struggled with. So sometimes I have to force myself to be like, okay, this is actually really cool. Okay, now sit down and push this idea, like make more. So for me, it's never been about consistency. And I think when I just started off, I struggled with this because I was like, oh my gosh, like everyone's talking about style. I should know my style, whatever. Okay, literally for me, my opinion is when you let go of needing to know your style, of needing to control stuff, that's when you know your style. Just be yourself, which is, it's really hard to do. And by being yourself, I mean, like, maybe when you're younger, you really don't know who you are. So obviously you're going to have like maybe 6 different types of styles, but do all of them. And that's what I didn't like. Like if I had, during my art courses when I was younger, or when I was younger, whatever, like a couple years ago, the teachers would be like, okay, but you need a consistency. But it's like, I don't know who I am yet. And there were kids that knew who they were, and that's amazing. Good for you. but I don't know how often you make work, but look at how often I make work every single day. And it's because I'm not judgmental of myself, you know? I understand I understand inconsistencies. So I hope that answered your question. It wasn't conscious. My only thing is when I start to get too controlling, I actually will be like, okay, you need to stop, and and that's when I probably a direction, because I realized I was like getting too controlling. So I have some collections that I've made that were very detailed and stuff like that, and then I just felt like it wasn't for me anymore. I also just felt like I wasn't being honest. I don't think you're being honest when you're being that controlling.
So do you keep searching for yourself, or is it like you're just discovering every part like new, everything like you know, every day like the sun goes up and it's new you and you're discovering yourself like every day?
Literally exactly like you said it. It's a daily adventure every single day. I have to like, yeah, it's a seriously like a daily occurrence. Yeah. And I think people need to be more aware of this. Like, people fluctuate. Like, you don't have to be one thing. It's, yeah.
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
know.
of course. Yes, like it's because, you know, I think that so many people are afraid of changes. Sometimes they're like, you know, to go to something unknown and to go out of your comfort zone. Sometimes it's just to like work with yourself and discover yourself, and you don't need to like go and to the top of the Everest. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think probably I think it's the fact that I dealt with so many inconsistencies in my life that eventually I figured this out. So like, you know, my family moved around so much. So I was changing schools, changing cultures, changing languages my whole life. So every time I got comfortable, I'm like, okay, this is who I am. It would be like, you know, the floor's below me just. So I didn't really have a choice. And then eventually, of course, that was difficult. But I think once that part of me broke, I realized, like, I felt like I freed myself from the obligation of having to be something consistent. So yeah, I mean, your environment makes you who you are. So if you move around a lot, you're going to realize that you're different things depending on who you're with and where you are, what language you're speaking.
Yes, it's interesting. Yeah. Okay. Wow. It's we can go even deeper in this, but I will move to the next question. And,
these are great.
I know that you have also a YouTube channel.
Yes.
Where you post very interesting videos also of the process of your work and talking about different issues. And what was your purpose of your YouTube channel, and what is your purpose now? Like, is it still something like for promotion, or maybe you have something else in mind?
This is great. So yeah, so actually, if you guys are interested in checking out my channel, you can go onto my profile, and it's going to be in my profile, like the description section. And yeah, a link to my channel should be there. I think I put it there yesterday. Yeah, so the reason why I've been wanting to do this for a long time, but I think it's such a huge commitment to make videos. And if you want to start something like YouTube, you want consistency. And so I mean, it just took me a while, but during quarantine, it was the perfect time. So I started in Japan during quarantine to start to document my stuff. And I realized that, first of all, I put a lot of work into myself. I've done a lot of psychological work to get to where I'm at. But unless I share that with people, you know, nobody knows. And second of all, I can't help anybody. I can't actually show them like, oh, this is possible, or, you know. So I really wanted to be able to offer to other people what I would have loved to hear when I was struggling and, you know, lost and going through really, really difficult times. And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to do the YouTube channel. Just making videos so that I can share with people. On Instagram, it's very visual. So I feel like people are not really sitting down and, you know, getting to the heart of things. And my goal for YouTube is to be able to bridge my interest in psychology with my understanding of creativity. And so as an artist, I have my own art practice, but I feel like it's not as nourishing as when I'm sharing information or sharing valuable advice or valuable experiences that might help other people. And that's what I'm trying to do. So I give like tips for artist blocks, or, you know, I'm bridging like useful advice with how art can kind of fit into that. So it's not only for artists, it's not only for people who are, you know, creative. I think I want to appeal to anyone, you know, people who don't understand the benefit of creativity and art. So that's kind of my goal. And also to make people feel more confidence in being who they are and embracing their uniqueness. It took me a long time to get here, and I understand the struggle, but I'm very empathetic of it, and that's why I feel like I have a valuable perspective on things. Yeah, so that's kind of my goal. I don't know, that was a little long maybe, but
no, it's a very noble goal, I think. But you also you studied, you have like a degree on psychology, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So I went to New York University and I studied psychology, philosophy, social, like psych, but the degree I have is actually in an individualized studies program. So I was able to combine and take whatever courses I wanted to and combine it into a major that I made. So I was very interested in identity, and that's pretty much what my major was about. Yeah, so I have a background in psychology, and actually I thought I was going to go into art therapy when I first started college, until I realized I'm much more interested in making art myself. And also I just didn't really agree with a lot of the ideas in psychology. And I felt like it's just another narrative that you can choose any narrative. And I didn't really think, I feel like psychology actually creates boxes for you. So it's limiting your understanding of self. It doesn't really acknowledge that not being normal is maybe beautiful. So obviously, like, I wouldn't, like, if you're a little neurotic, they would classify that as being sick. And I didn't like that, you know, because I don't think the point of being human is to be normal. The point is to be unique, is to be you. Is, you know, we are all unique. So that was my issue with psychology, and thus I'm an artist now, because I want to learn things firsthand. Yeah.
Yes, you know, when I also had this like short course on psychology at university, and I got a C, you know, like I was not interested at all, because I was so ridiculed by this all you know, definitions of emotions or everything so like scientific, and you're like, how you can even like make a definition of emotion, like it's so
exactly.
So I just ignored it and got like you know, just to pass, just not to make my like, just to still keep getting the scholarship, and that's all.
Yeah. I don't, so I mean, for instance, like if you're depressed, then you should have like 5, or, you know, like they'll be like, oh, you need 5 or more of these symptoms. Why 5? Who decided 5? Like, it doesn't make any sense. And like, I don't know, I have a lot of issues with it. Also, like pharmaceutical drugs and stuff. Like, I've been on antidepressants before, and it just changed me. Like, I felt different, and then I told my psychologist, I told her that I didn't want to be using them anymore, and she was like encouraging me to use them. I was like, no, like, I'm just going to do it the natural way. I'm going to sleep earlier. Like, clearly I have tendencies to get depressed, and I just need to work harder on my chemicals than maybe someone else. But that's my genetic makeup. That's who I am. And if I avoid the issue by taking drugs, I'm changing myself to be more like other people in society. Like, I didn't feel that creative when I took the drugs, and it just didn't make any sense to me. But it's crazy because she was like, you should take them. I was like, I don't want to take them. Like, and so I have a lot of issues with it. Anyway, but that just gets really serious, I feel.
You know, it's scary because, you know, it reminds of the people, you know, that are locked up in clinics, you know, with issues, and it's kind of very creepy.
Yeah. There's a lot of implications when it comes to this field. And it's a very new field too. I think people need to understand it's fresh. Yeah. Like these ideas, psychology is so new. So there's a lot that needs to be discovered. It's not something that's been around forever.
Yes, right. And okay, let's move to a different, more positive question topic, because, you know, it's getting creepy with psychology. And
I know, it gets real dark real fast.
Yes, because I just remembered a lot of stories, and I just don't want to bring them up right now. Okay, so do you have like somebody from the like artist, I don't know, who inspires you? Maybe it can be some from old masters or maybe contemporary artists.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to first start. I'm first and foremost, this is not an artist, but I am obsessed with Carl Jung. Love him. He's not an artist, but I love him. I really like Matisse. Kind of got really obsessed with him since like a couple months ago. And what I like about him is he kept crunching. He kept working hard. Like he worked so hard. And when he made it to the top, he still found different ways to make it to like the next mountain. Like he kept climbing new mountains and discovering new areas that had not been explored before. And so he was always innovating. And it's hard to innovate. You know, you get comfortable. And I think he was very diligent about not getting comfortable. And his work ethic is something I really admire as an artist. Yeah, I mean, I enjoy a lot of artists. I feel like I really like Georgia O'Keeffe. But I think so I went to her home in New Mexico, and I think for me, what I love about Georgia O'Keeffe is kind of how I saw firsthand how her artwork and the piece, like her artwork is very serene, and how it bled into her lifestyle. Because I visited her home and her studio, and I could see how an artist really is, you know, there's no separation between the studio and the artist. So that was very inspiring to me. Obviously Picasso, but I think lately I've been more interested in I like Matisse a bit more this year. I also I was very inspired by the fact towards the end of his career, he was starting to use very different mediums, like glass that they used in churches. So he was using those color glass.
Yes.
Yeah, and I thought that was really beautiful. And then also he started just doing cutouts, like when he started to feel physical pain. I think he was getting physically ill, and so he started making cutouts and finding different ways to innovate and to express himself. I really think he's at the moment maybe my favorite, but I'm sure there's so many right now, and I cannot remember things when I need to remember them. So I'm a little frustrated right now because you're asking me a memory question. That's really hard for me. I'm sure there's something really important that I cannot remember right now, and it's bothering me a lot. Why are you doing this to me?
But now you are blaming me.
Yeah, I'm blaming you.
Take your fish oil pills, for your memory.
Yeah. No, it's just that I'm never working with my memory. My work doesn't really involve memories, so I just cannot remember anything. Anyway, there's definitely, I feel like there's somebody that I'm forgetting right now that is really inspirational to me. But, moving on.
Okay.
If I remember, I'll say.
Okay. By the way, do you want to collaborate with somebody from contemporary artists, somebody you have met? I don't know. somebody you know?
Collaborate?
Yes, I do, like, whatever.
Ooh, I mean, I love collaborations in general, and it's not necessarily, it doesn't necessarily have to be with artists. It could be with musicians.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah, I'm really open to that because I feel like if I'm always just working with myself, it's gonna get boring. I want to like grow, you know, I want to like push my own boundaries. And I think the best way to do that is through frequent collaboration. So I'm all about it. And I'm not really very, you know, I think as long as I respect the artist or the musician or the whatever, even any medium, maybe fashion, I think I'm always happy to do collaborations. Yeah. So, because I think it's like it's a way to push my art as well. So I'm not really picky about it. I think the more the merrier.
But you know, collaborating with some fashion brand, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Are you asking if I am collaborating with someone or if I'm want to collaborate with someone?
I was asking about if you want to collaborate with someone, but also I want to mention that you are collaborating with some brand right now, right? Okay.
Yeah. So that is, yeah. So I've been collaborating with this brand called Arche, ARCHE. And they have a Chinese branch as well, which is called Hachette. And I did, like, for 2 seasons for them, I made artwork that they've been using in all of their stores in China. It was super, super fun. And we did some interviews. And this year, I'm also going to be doing another collaboration with them. Collaborating with fashion brands is something I really love doing. So I do have to, it's something I want to do more of. So I love seeing my work worn as well. So I didn't do that with Arche in the sense that they didn't make my artwork into clothing. And it was more of something that they used for their stores, like the environment, the ambiance.
Oh, okay.
But I do see myself doing, I want to do more capsule collections as well. So I've been actually doing some custom shoes myself, and I make prints. So that's something that I'm working on, like making more fashion collection stuff down the line. But I'm only one person. I wish there were like 3 of me. So there's a lot of stuff I want to do.
Oh, it would be great because I like surrealism in fashion actually.
Yeah.
Like when you're really interested, because you know when you have some creativity in your look, it's more it's inspiring, it's unique, and you know I also maybe I was about to send you this designer Elsa Schiaparelli. She's first surrealist in fashion, kind of.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, I do like to get inspiration outside of art. I think it's very awesome. But don't ask me any names because I can never remember names.
Okay, I will just send you something like a video because she's very cool. But she was first. She's also everything came from some creative need. I don't know how to express it. And then she met other surrealists like Dali and everyone else. So it was very interesting that she is like independently became surrealist. Like, you know, she was so I will send you. And
yay!
I'm
so sad. I can't remember names. I feel like there's so many artists that I look up to. It's like bothering me right now. Like what? Well, I have to get over it.
Don't worry. And I know that this year was very crazy for you because of pandemic. You stuck in Japan.
Yes.
How how everything, all these events influenced you? Like what you discovered, what you share your wisdom with us.
Yeah. So. Okay, so I got really lucky in the sense that I was able to exhibit my work during quarantine. I ended up being able to use Ultra Super New Gallery space as a studio and as a virtual exhibition for 2 months, so that was amazing. And I also got featured in a couple magazines during that time, and so I think it's actually been really good. And I started my YouTube channel. I've had a lot of time to think about what I'm trying to do with my art and the message that I really believe in and that I'm trying to promote with my art. So I think I've just had a lot of time to think about those things and think about where everything is heading. This is officially the second year of me being a full-time artist. Hey, Lacey. Yeah, so it's been a very important year in terms of my growth as an artist, like full-time. So I think a lot of things have been manifesting, and it's awesome. And a lot of cool things are happening as well next year. So yeah, I feel like I started making designs for clothing as well this year. This has been a lot of stuff that I did this year that I've never done in the past. But I think probably the most important thing is that I became more virtual, is the fact that I understood that this uncertainty might last for a little while. So I started a YouTube account, like the channel, and then I also have a Patreon. This way, with the uncertainty, I'm able to also grow my online presence. I think that's kind of been a big deal. And obviously, being in Japan is awesome. So I've been like exploring a lot of places in Japan.
Yes, I think it was you were actually lucky because Japan was kind of it's more of a safe, I think, here. I don't know, like even now everyone is not freaking out, like everyone's so calm about all the situation, I think.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely not like that in China right now. Well, I mean, I guess I'm quarantining, so people are wearing plastic bags, but it's pretty intense.
Oh my God. How many days are left?
I have I honestly lost track, but I think I have 6 days left.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought maybe you're counting, like prisoners. 1.
I know. I mean, I'm actually enjoying it. A part of me wants to quarantine like for the rest of my life. I'm like, I'm being so productive here. So it's actually not so bad.
I was actually so surprised because I more astonished to see you. So full of inspiration. I was expecting you were freaking out, kind of, But I was like, oh, okay, this girl is like taking the best of the situation and. Like,
definitely.
oh.
I love the challenge. I love being in challenging situations, but I've used the time to just meditate more as well to balance myself. So it's been really nice.
Wow, cool. And what do you think about the world from now on after the pandemic, like art world and maybe some in general? What do you feel?
I think it's a time to challenge old structures. So I think everything that I'm doing right now it's perfect for the period that we're in right now. I think, the old structures are just breaking down. So everything is moving online more. And that's one of the reasons why I feel like starting a YouTube channel is such a great idea. Or just, figuring out ways to be more present online. And I think that's very important for artists because it's not always been like that. And I think artists are also being given the opportunity to take more charge over their, I guess, business. Some people might not like that word, but it is what it is. So I think, we have more freedom to reach out and make our own contacts, whereas in the past it was more gallery dependent. So now, there's just less rules, I feel, and for me, I see myself doing more collaborations outside of the fine art industry, as well as doing, more exhibitions with galleries, but I just don't think that they contradict anymore. I think you're able to really think outside the box now. Yeah. I mean, I'm always a believer of like, taking the positive out of a situation. So yeah, COVID might be around for a little bit, forever. I don't know. But then think of a creative solution for what you're doing. And those are, I think that's what's going to make whatever you're doing thrive, is if you're able to find a creative solution.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. I totally agree with you. And actually, I had the same feeling about collaboration. You know, this maybe a new type of collaborations with how to bring art more into everyday life.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
To make it more accessible, like, but in the same time, not like very like not very popular. To not to make it very cheap, you know, like some like, but like maintain some exclusivity and I don't know. But yeah, I think it's a lot of things to think about and like figure out how to do this. And yeah, and
yeah.
so, and now you will be soon, maybe in 6 days, you will be free.
Yes.
And so, what are you planning to do in China?
Work. I have a lot to do. I'm finally back, and there's so many people that want to meet me.
Mm-hmm.
And I have clients that have commissioned work from me, so I need to make them.
Mm-hmm.
So I have like a list of people I need to meet and commissions that I need to get to. I'm also working on a collaboration with Arch. So yeah, I have to get to work, and the deadlines are end of this month for quite a few of them. So I'm gonna be busy.
Oh my God.
And yeah, I think it's just gonna be a lot of work for me for the next couple months. A lot of a lot of exciting things coming up. I'm gonna be busy.
But maybe something you want to do, like not because of the work, but I don't know, some next project.
Right, something more for myself.
Yeah.
Well, actually, yeah. So I want to. I just like hope that I'm not. No, okay. I'm gonna put it out there and let's manifest this. I've been talking about coming out with books forever, and it just never happens because something always comes in the way. So I really want to actually create, finalize, finish. Like, actually, right now I have like 2 to 3 books in mind that I want to complete before Christmas.
Like,
so I'm going to be so busy.
With artworks.
Huh?
With artworks.
Yes. So I have an idea of making a book that is just like, the whole book is just postcards with my artwork in it. I think it'd be really fun for people. So that would be easy for me to do. So I really want to be able to come out with that before Christmas so people could get that. And I have another postcard book that I could also do because I just have so much artwork. So I'm thinking of doing that. And yeah, I still need to work on this coloring book. But I don't even want to talk about it because it's been so long.
So many work till Christmas. Oh my God. But I really think it. I hope you will like. But don't freak out. Like, all these deadlines.
Yes, that's why I'm like scared. I'm like, I don't want to put this out there and then not be able to complete or. But I have a good feeling, and I would really love to be able to offer people some like cool Christmas presents, you know. So if I can finish some of these things before Christmas, it would be ideal.
Yes, right. Oh my God, I don't know. I think in 1 minute we will be like.
It'll be 1 hour.
But yes, because I haven't ever with somebody like spent an hour talking, but I know that with you it may be hours. Not an hour.
Yes.
But anyway, thank you very much. It was so interesting, and I haven't actually saw your works in reality, like only the pictures, and I hope that you will in the next year I will see you again and visit your exhibition, and just stay safe there. And
yes, I might be coming in February to Japan, so
yes.
Right, this was really fun for me too. It was really great. You have really good questions.
Oh, thank you. I will try my best. So let's keep working, and maybe we will have some other interview in future, you know, like discuss different like stages, chapters.
Yes, when I'm actually in my studio. That would be awesome.
Where? In your
when I'm
studio?
actually in my studio. I can show you the
Oh,
studio.
yes, yes. Cool. Let's think about this after. But I wish you a
Okay.
lot of inspiration and drive. But I think you have a lot of this, and you will accomplish everything. All the projects. Just have a good luck. And thank
Oh,
you
thank
very
you so
much.
much, Oksana.
Thank you, everybody who were watching this. We really
Yes,
appreciate that
appreciate it.
you.
Aw, Lacey. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. So,
Yay.
thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.